Good evening, race fans, and welcome here today at Iowa Speedway for the Velocity Racing League All-Star Race. My name is Mason Heimball with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here today, 1080p 60 frames a second. Again, here today at Iowa Speedway, a track sitting at just under a mile in length. Folks, I expect to see quite a lot of exciting action here tonight as we have quite the bit of action here to look forward to, and as our drivers get their qualifying in here today and prepare to get themselves ready to go for the start of today's race. A few drivers already making their way out onto track as we look at Paul Mikolajczyk. Let's take a quick run through of what is happening here for today's race, as there is quite a lot to unfold and unravel here before we get into the action here today. So right out of the gate, this is the all-star race. So what's on the line? What's at stake right now? Oh, Paul Mikolajczyk getting a little bit loose there coming out of turn 4. But what's on the line here? So right at the start of this event here today, we are going to see our open for today's event. Now, the Open is going to allow all of the drivers who were not automatically qualified for this race. This gives them an opportunity to put themselves into the All-Star race. Now, only the top 3 that finish in this Open will move on into the All-Star race. Now, whoever wins the Open here will also receive a nice, crisp $20. That's also going to be a pretty nice compensation here for coming to a race like this and just trying to do the best that you possibly can here, as we have a few drivers that have already put down their best times and completed their qualifying runs here. You can see Cody Welch up there at the very tippy top in the 85 machine, setting a 23.83. Alex Anderson just about 2/100ths of a second behind Welch in that 67 machine, going to take second place. Nicholas Lavelle sitting in third. So moving on just a little bit here as we continue to have our drivers work their way around the track and complete their qualifying runs here. So after our Open has completed, again, we will move on to our All-Star race. Now it's going to be split into 2 segments. It's a 75-lap race in total. For our Open here, it's going to be 30 laps. Moving on to the All-Star race, the first segment is going to be 60 laps. Moving on to the second segment will be the final 15 laps of the race. But here's the catch. The field is going to see an invert at the end of that, well, at the end of the first segment going into the second. It's going to be a random invert from the top 10, I believe. So drivers are going to be put into completely different spots going into that final 15 laps. And get this, the winner of the All-Star race is going to come home with an extra $100 in their pocket. So a lot is at stake here tonight. There is definitely a lot of competition that is going to come out here and really put out the group, well, put out some serious competition. Right now, we only see a few of our drivers on the timing tower at this moment. There's still a handful of drivers that have not come out onto track here to complete their qualifying laps. James Coulibaly is the last driver, it looks like, that is going to be taking advantage here of the time left, as we are just about 30 seconds left here before we see the checkered flag fly for our qualifying here before we head into the Open of the All-Star race for the Velocity Racing League Cup Series. I gotta say, this is I'm pretty excited about this. Now, if you have been tuning in for the action here with Velocity Racing League for some time, you will have seen probably the Crown Jewel race that we saw earlier in the beginning of the season. So taking a look here, it was actually the second race of the season at Daytona. The Daytona 300 was the first Crown Jewel race. Now, if I remember correctly, that winner of the Crown Jewel race, if they were eligible, was also able to take away $100. But I don't think any of our Crown Jewel drivers were able to pull that off. So it looks like we have our starting grid here for our drivers that are ready to see if they are going to make it into the All-Star race. Cody Welch, the 85 machine, starting at the very tippy top in the front row. Alex Anderson in the 67 taking second place, rounding out your front row here. Nicholas Lavelle in that 10 machine taking third place. Scott Shire in the 4, going to be in fourth place here, rounding out your second row. Paul Mikolajczyk in the 38, going to take fifth place. Ricky Hart Jr. in the 21, going to be in 6th, rounding out your third row. Patrick Colby in 7th. Max Neuwirth in 8th. Charles Jurek in 9th. Thomas Sewell in 10th. Benny Hogan in 11th. James Koulibaly in 12th. Moving down the grid here, Lucas Smith going to be in 13th. Michael Ashmore in 14th. Howie Dietrich in 15th. And Keith Lee going to round out our field here at the tail end in 16th in that number 61 machine. So, drivers getting themselves ready to go, lined up behind the pace car, and it looks like we are about to see that pace car dive down into the pits and get ourselves ready for the start of the 30 laps that we are going to see here for the All-Star Race Open here at Iowa Speedway. We already got people in chat cheering on the 85 machine of Cody Welch, the current leader. As we come out of turn 4, it looks like we are going to take another lap around here before we see that pace car make its dive down into the pits here. And just look at this field as they work their way heading into turn 1 here. 30 laps here at Iowa, frankly. And another interesting note here as well, yellow cautions do not count for laps. So while we are under caution, the laps will not count. So if we see a lot of these yellows come out, we might be here a little while. Just a little bit, longer than what we usually see typically when we are under caution here for the VRL Cup Series. Caution laps do count. However, this is the All-Star race. This is where things kind of get shaken up a little bit, and there's a lot more excitement on the table. There's a lot to be had. $120 in total for prize money to be won here tonight at Iowa Speedway. Let's see who is going to be the first to take just a slice of that prize money. As we work our way into turn 1, the green flag is out here at Iowa Speedway. It's lap 1 of 30. And away we go. Cody Welch, the 85 machine, trying to keep his lead here as much as he can. Nicholas Lavelle looking very impressive in that number 10 machine, trying to stay on the rear of that number 85 as we work our way now, heading into turn 3. Trying to take a look at some of our action here. Might be unfolding here towards the midfield. We're taking a look now at Ricky Hart in that Wonder 21 machine. You know, I'm getting some serious Ricky Bobby vibes out of that number 21 car right now, and I'm just loving it. Some Talladega Nights is just the kind of energy that I need here for this race here at Iowa, as we're getting a little bit loose and slippery here coming out of turn 4. Scott Shire, Alex Anderson, both side by side, as well as Paul Mikolajczyk. Ricky Hart, side by side, 2 deep, working their way now, coming out of turn 2. Down the back straight. Scott Shire, very good work here going into turn 3. He's got this line down on the bottom that's working fairly well. You can see the 67 Alex Anderson almost smacking the wall there as he comes out of turn 4. These drivers all very close to one another. Paul Mikolajczyk trying to get some speed down on the bottom line. You can see him weaving and working his way around here, trying to see if he can get a pass around that Fox 4 machine of Scott Shire. He's coming out of turn 4 now. 26 laps left to go. This one's going to be a quick one here, folks. This is not going to, there's not a whole lot of time that these drivers are going to have to really fight for positions. It's really just go, go, go. You have to get up there, get in there, and just try and be as fast as you possibly can. Let's ride on board for just a moment now with Scott Shire in that number 4 car. Oh, Ricky Hart, not sure exactly what happened there with that number 21 machine, but as they got side by side, he fell back just a little bit. Unsure if that was maybe a little bit of contact there. He's actually fallen back quite a bit there. Paul Mikolajczyk now in that 38 machine, trying to stick with Scott Shire now taking a look at the fan favorite, Cody Welch, in that number 85 machine. He's got nearly a half a second, just about, actually, just over now, a half a second gap between himself and Nicholas Lavelle here in that number 10 machine. And Nicholas also has quite the comfortable gap that he has between himself and the drivers that are fighting for positions here, kind of towards the, well, not necessarily midfield, but kind of top 5, if you will. Speaking of midfield, though, let's take a look here. Benny Hogan, James Coulibaly, as well as Thomas Sewell, all going to be duking it out here for 10th place spot. Benny Hogan in that number 5 machine, trying to work his way down on the inside of James Coulibaly. Not quite going to have the speed that he needs this time around. So he's going to have to keep on it, keep doing what he's doing, and see, Scott there. Coming out of turn 4, he's on the wall, he's grinding, going into turn 1. Paul Mikolajczyk, Ricky Hart taking advantage of the mistake there from that number 4 car. As they go down the back straight, they are going to stack up just in front of Scott Shire here. With 22 laps left to go, Cody Welch, Nicholas Lavelle, Alex Anderson, all taking our top 3 spots here. And really the top 3 starting to get themselves a little bit of a nice gap here between the rest of our field, as they all continue to fight for positions. Excuse me, I apparently can't speak words today. Looking at Charles Jurek now in the 76 machine. Ooh, that looked interesting. I'm not sure if he was getting a little sideways there and it was just so subtle that you could barely notice. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just the camera angle. Either way, either how, it looks like a lot of these drivers here, they're just slipping right on the edge of getting these cars sideways almost. Trying to keep these cars in control and do what they need them to do and stay as fast as possible. It's all a tricky game of balance that we're seeing out of our field here today. As right now, I mean, it's still impressive. Let's take a look at our leaders here for just a moment. I want to look at Cody Welch, and actually let's write out the rear view of the 85 machine. I kind of just want to look at just how far this field is getting spread out, well, distance from the 85 machine here. Cody is onto something here. I don't know exactly, well, clean air obviously is going to have a huge part to do with the reason why Cody Welch is so successful right now in leading this field with 18 laps left to go, and really no real indication of that 85 machine being slowed down anytime soon. I mean, once you're in that clean air, it's pretty much just go time. As long as you're hitting your marks, you're staying fast, you have really not a whole lot to worry about unless the field starts to stack up behind you. Get a little bit of draft moving, and you could eventually start to see a train of drivers slowly work well, I don't want to say slowly, but quickly get their way up to you. But here at Iowa, a little bit tricky to do, as not a whole lot of time that you're going to be on that throttle, able to stay behind another driver like you would at Daytona, Talladega. I mean, this is a very, well, I don't want to say very small, but this is a smaller track than what you might see at a super speedway. So you definitely have to be a little bit more conservative on that throttle. You got to be careful on when you get back on the throttle coming out of both turns 2 and 4, as you know, you don't want to get that car unsteady. You know, it could get very unhappy with you. You could lose that grip all from underneath you, and bye-bye car. That's all she wrote there. But all these drivers here thus far, 14 laps left to go. Very impressive work that we're seeing from a lot of this field right now. And frankly, if things continue the way that they're going, it looks like Cody Welch, Nicholas Lavelle, as well as Alex Anderson here are all going to be the ones moving on into the All-Star race. We'll just have to wait and see, though, as it's still 13 laps left to go. Anything could still happen here. We could see a caution come out, which, frankly, I would hate to see that happen for these drivers. I mean, this has just been an incredible open here to kick things off here tonight. I don't think any one of these drivers here are wanting to see that happen here, but what I'm really impressed by, too, is just how calm a lot of this field is looking. I mean, the battles that we are seeing, they're very, very respectful. I mean, we're not seeing drivers getting up into the door panels of each other. You know, we're not seeing drivers bumping and grinding like we sometimes do here for the VRL Cup Series. It's a lot more respectful. It's a lot more, hey, you know, I want to win this just as much as you do. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing transpire here on track. And frankly, I love to see it. I mean, I could be wrong. It could just be that Iowa being Iowa. And not exactly the easiest track to, well, whoa, Ricky Hart there, that 21 machine. It looked like that rear end starting to get a little bit wobbly there. Ricky able to hold on to it. He's sitting in 4th place right now, and look at, Paul Mikolajczyk there, a little bit of a tap out of the wall, on the wall, coming out of turn 2. Alex Anderson, the 67 machine, gonna start to see a little bit of pressure here as Ricky Hart slowly getting his way up here to the rear end of that 67, and I'm kind of curious if Alex here is seeing a little bit of fall off from his tires or what's going on there with that 67 machine. I'm not exactly too certain. Either way, either how, with 8 laps left to go now as we cross the line, it could very well see that 21 machine battle it out for that 3rd place spot. And again, the top 3 move on to the all-star race here. So whoever comes across that line in that top 3 spot, that's their ticket. They're going to move on into the next part of this race here tonight. And frankly, for Cody Welch and Nicholas Lavelle, I really don't expect either one of these drivers to see anything change here unless we see something just absolutely catastrophic happen. I don't even want to say it. I'm not going to say it. I don't want to jinx it. But looking here, just trying to keep up with some of the action that we still have unfolding. With 6 laps left to go, Patrick Colby, Charles Jurek coming across the line, heading into turn 1. Colby down on the inside of that 76 machine. Able to work his way just in front of the 76 to Charles Jurek down the back straight. You can see Scott Shire as well just ahead in that number 4 Fox machine. So with 5 laps left to go, Corey Mitchell in the chat saying Cody Welch is slightly loose and he likes that. You know, and sometimes here at tracks like Iowa, that is what you need. You want that, just that little bit of looseness in that rear end. You want it. You want to stay, again, speed is key. You want to be as fast as possible in these turns, and if you're able to get that little bit of turn out of that car going into these turns, able to get it just a little bit get that slide just a little bit. It's incredible. It's incredible how fast you can be at some of these tracks once you get that down, once you get it to perfection. So, and I think Cody Welch is a perfect example of that, as we have 3 laps left to go. And right now, that 85 machine, he is, again, just driving away this lead with over a second between himself and Nicholas Lavelle. That 85 machine, all he's got to do is just keep it going. Keep doing what you're doing. Just a few more laps left to go, and here he goes across the line. It's going to be 2 laps left to go here. Next time around, the white flag will fly. And it will be the final chance for any driver here to try and make a pass, get themselves up into the top 3, like in the case of Ricky Hart Jr., who in that 21 machine we saw starting to close in on Alex Anderson, sitting in 3rd place right now. There we see the white flag fly here. So right now, between these 2 drivers, Alex Anderson, Ricky Hart Jr., this is what I'm excited to see if there's anything going to unfold here. I don't think there will, but it was really, really interesting to see just how close Ricky Hart came to coming across that line for third place here. Well, at least catching up to the 67 of Alex Anderson. But there we go. Cody Welch taking it home in first, Nicholas Lavelle in second, and Alex Anderson going to be in third place here as we get ready to wrap up our open race here. We actually going to do things a little bit differently than we normally do here up in the booth. As drivers get their celebrations done here, actually, we might be able to do this now while we still have the time. We're going to do things kind of quickly. Let's pull in our race winner, Cody Welch, and get a word from him as he burns it down on the checkered line here. And also going to get that nice $20 from Tony Hilbrands. Cody, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, I got you.
Cody, what a phenomenal run here, man. This was, obviously this was only 30 laps, kind of just a sneak peek, if you will, into the All-Star race, the 75 laps that we will see there. But you've managed to qualify yourself into that All-Star race, or at least get yourself into the All-Star race. How are you feeling about that, and how are you feeling now that you have a nice crisp $20 to spend now?
Yeah, the $20 definitely feels good. And yeah, the race win felt good too. Car was real loose first 5-10 laps, and then it tightened up real good. And just focus on running my line, hitting my marks. I know Lavelle was right there behind me, and I wasn't about to let him slip by. So I just, like I said, just hit my marks, do the best I can to stay in front, and luckily it all worked out for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It was really, really great to see that 85. You just had something going for you, man. It was really, really great to see how well you were just pushing throughout this race here at Iowa. And hopefully we get to see that same performance going into the All-Star, into the feature race here tonight. Well, really, it's kind of two different races. But anyhow, Cody, congratulations on taking home the win here in the Open, and I look forward to seeing you in the All-Star race.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, folks, that is Cody Welch out of the booth here. Let's go ahead and grab ourselves Nicholas Lavelle in second place, the number 10 machine, taking home second place here tonight. Nicholas, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, sir.
Nicholas, what a phenomenal run that you had here tonight. You were closing in to Cody Welch there for, well, kind of towards the beginning of the race here, and then kind of as things started to progress on, we started to see Cody start to separate from the rest of the field. Now, kind of walk me through what it was like just trying to keep up with Cody, and if there was even anything that you could do to close that nearly almost a second and a quarter gap that was had once you guys crossed the finish line.
Yeah, I was hanging with him for a little bit, and I think he was just running wider. I think he was letting his car flow up, and I was way too committed to running the bottom or the middle, so I never really moved up, and he was just able to save more, I think, and he walked away at the end. But I'll take second. It gets me in the show. Absolutely,
yeah. You get yourself an opportunity going into the All-Star race and a shot at $100. How are you feeling about that, given that we have a 60-lap kind of, well, main race, and then things get a little funky for the last 15 laps. How are you feeling about it?
I'm hoping I can hang around, top 8, top 9, and then maybe I'll get lucky if they'll wide it up in a couple corners, and you never know. You never know what'll happen.
Exactly. Anything can happen here at these races, and that's kind of the fun part of it. So, Nick, I'm going to let you get yourself ready to go for the start of our All-Star race here, and congratulations on taking home second place here in the Open, and I hope to get to talk to you again here in the All-Star race.
Yes, sir. Hope so, too. See you later.
See ya. All right, folks. Nicholas Lavelle out of the booth here, taking second place here for the Open. Let's get Alex Anderson down here into the booth here, the number 67 machine, taking home third. Alex, do you have a read?
Yes, sir. Forgot I had my push to talk.
It's all right, Alex. Well, welcome here to the booth, and congratulations on taking home third. You have managed to get yourself into the All-Star race here. How are you feeling going into tonight? I mean, there's $100 on the line. it's a shot anyone could walk away with. What's kind of running through your head right now? Did you even anticipate finishing in the top 3 tonight?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, not really, man. I mean, Iowa usually isn't one of my better tracks, especially in these cars with how loose they are sometimes. So I was definitely surprised with my pace there. But going into this race, I'm also honestly not very confident. Again, I've got just a fantastic driver lineup that I'm going to have to run against. So I'm hoping that maybe strategy or some unfortunate incidents to other drivers can put me out front. But other than that, I'm just going to bide my time towards the back and hopefully can get up front towards the end.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we get to see yourself as well as the other 2 drivers, Cody Welch and Nicholas Lavelle, that we saw, that we spoke to just a moment ago, in the All-Star race, and hopefully see yourself back up here in the booth. I mean, it's going to be an exciting one, Alex, and I'm going to let you get yourself ready because I know it's going to be an interesting 75 laps, to say the least.
All right, thanks, man. Have a good one up here.
You as well. Thank you. All right, folks, that is Alex Anderson out of the booth here. So we are going to go ahead and we are going to take a very quick commercial break. And when we come back, we will get ourselves ready for the All-Star race. So stay tuned, don't go anywhere, and we will have more coverage of the Velocity Racing League Cup Series All-Star race. All right, and welcome back, folks. So we are here at Iowa Speedway once again. After we just saw a phenomenal open race here to kick off tonight's All-Star race. I mean, what an absolutely incredible way to get things started here tonight. So, again, the top 3 drivers that finished in that open have made their way into tonight's All-Star race, and that will be Cody Welch, Nicholas Lavelle, and Alex Anderson. So drivers are currently making their qualifying runs here at this point in time. We're looking at Howie Briss in the 97 machine. Currently going to log his time in right now. Briss sitting at 3rd place with a 24.18. Excuse me, I don't know where the 90 came from. But Aaron Smith, the number 70 machine, qualifying at the very tippy top with a 23.71 here. That is going to place himself in a very good spot here for the first stint, or the first segment of our 75-lap race here tonight. Again, the first segment being 60 laps, and the last segment 15 laps, where we will see a random invert on the field. I'd also like to shout out Thomas Sewell in the chat, Thomas, I'm doing fantastic. I hope you are doing well as everyone watching the broadcast here tonight. I'm excited to be here. I hope everyone else is as well. I love being here for the Velocity Racing League Cup Series. I love calling these races and just enjoying some good old-fashioned racing. You know, doesn't get any better than that, no matter whether it's real-life racing or whether it's sim racing. I just enjoy going fast, and I hope everyone watching enjoys it just as much as I do. So, right now, I'm excited, folks. If you weren't here for the broadcast just a little bit ago, we were talking about the prize that we have on the line here for the All-Star race, $100 that we are going to see the winner take home tonight after a long 75-lap race. It is going to be interesting. I am quite excited to see how this is going to all end, as we're still looking at James Miller in the 09 machine completing his qualifying run here. He's going to drop it down into the pits now. Currently sitting in third place with a 23.88, just behind Daniel Mosteller with a 23.74 in second place. Jaden Hopp here, the 81 machine, trying to get himself a little bit of groovy action there as he comes out of turn 4. Keeping an eye on that back end of that 81 machine here as he completes his third qualifying lap here. That's going to put him in fifth place with a 23.93 here for this run. So only a handful of drivers, it looks like, that we have at this point in time that have made it out into qualifying or even into the race here in general. So it's looking like our field is going to be in a pretty interesting spot. We won't really see a whole lot of beating and banging, I think, as the race progresses on, but given that things are kind of shortened here just by a little bit, that might change. We'll just have to wait and see. As Jaden Hopp here is going to complete his qualifying run here. There is just under 30 seconds left here before we see the checkered flag fly, and we will get ourselves into the start of our All-Star race here tonight. 60 laps for the first segment. Caution laps do not count, and we have unlimited green-white checkered attempts once we roll into our final 15 laps that we will see here tonight. So, getting ready for our first heat race of the night. The checkered flag has flown here for our qualifying run, and our grid is here and ready. 10 drivers that we have here for the All-Star race. Aaron Smith, the 70 machine, starting out in first place. Daniel Mosteller in the 87, going to be in second. James Miller, the 09, in third. Tony Hilbrand's the 92 machine, starting off in fourth. Jaden Hopp in fifth. Sean Williams in sixth place. Howie Briss in seventh. Nicholas Lavelle in eighth. Alex Anderson in ninth. And Cody Welch going to be starting off in 10th place. So things are kind of working out almost perfectly, if you will, as, again, we will see an invert of the field in the final 15 laps. So really, wherever you end up, if you happen to find yourself towards the back, well, chances are going into the second segment, you'll have 15 laps to dash your way all the way to the checkered line and possibly come away with the win and an extra $100 in your pocket. So, let's just see how this is going to go, folks, because I am, even despite only having 10 drivers here out on track, which, frankly, you would expect, you would expect with $100 on the line, you would expect more drivers to want to come out, but, sometimes that's, well, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyhow, it's lap 1 of 60 here, so again, 60 laps that we're going to start off with, and we will have a yellow flag caution, I believe, come out to indicate the start of our second stage here tonight. So 2 stages technically, however you want to call it, consider it. as our drivers get themselves lined up behind the pace car. And what am I seeing there? Is that just dust on the track? It looks like that's just dust. Okay, it looked like someone's car was smoking or something there for a second. That was kind of tripping me out for a minute. Because I was about to say, if that's the case, it's only lap 1 and we've already got someone blowing an engine. That is not a great way to start the All-Star race. But either way, either how, we're still getting ourselves lined up, and our drivers are all wiggling and wobbling and ready to go here for a fantastic race here tonight. So, Aaron Smith, he's definitely going to have a lot of work ahead of him to keep this lead, and especially going into that second segment here as the pace car ducks its way down into the pits and we get ready for the start of our haul. Whoo, man, that looked like a hold up there if I've ever seen one. Aaron Smith, though, with the launch on the rest of the field. The 70 machine is not taking any time here to try and get away. Down the back straight we go. James Miller, that 09 machine, looked like he might have had a little bit of a moment there. As drivers back here going 3 wide, Nicholas Lavelle, Sean Williams, Jaden Hopp, all coming across the checkered line, going into turn 1 now. These drivers are all stacked up right on top of one another here, with the exception of Aaron Smith and Daniel Mosteller, who have seemed to found themselves a nice little groove. But look at this. Look at this. Daniel Mosteller giving Aaron Smith a little bit of a run for his money, quite literally. Around the outside, out of turn 2 and down the back straight, the 87 machine just might. He does have enough speed to keep himself out in front here as Aaron Smith falls back into second place now. Coming out of turn 4, Aaron Smith gonna have to figure out, well, try and figure out a groove here that's gonna work for him to get himself back up into that lead, as Daniel Mosteller, very impressive work here, lap 4 of 60, and he's already pushed his way up into that first place spot, as we still got some drivers doing some incredible battling back here towards the back of this pack, essentially. I mean, there's only 10 drivers out on track right now. But man, oh man, they are giving it all they got. Nicholas Lavelle, Howie Briss there, almost touching doors. James Koulibaly in the chat says he wish he could have got in there. James, I wish you could have got in here too, man. That's all right. You got to take your chances, and, well, sometimes you got to learn to lose too. That's the nature of sports, unfortunately. You know, there's a lot of drivers here that I think were in that open that I think would really love to be here right now as well. And that, frankly, there was a lot of really great contenders that I think could have pushed their way up here into this All-Star race. But that's the rules. That's how things go. Only the top 3 move on. And frankly, I think that it's making this race even more interesting, though, just having this kind of condensed field that we have. Oh, man, look at this. Whoa, 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 whoa. Lavelle there getting a little bit of a contact there with the wall coming out of turn 4. Sean Williams, not sure exactly what was going on there, but he dropped down way low. Coming out of turn 2 now, he's duking it out with Jaden Hopp for that 3rd place spot. Oh, man, you can see Cody Welch back there coming across the checkered line. He's beating and banging doors with Nicholas Lavelle. They're 3 wide back here with Tony Hillbrands, Howie Briss, Cody Welch. Welch down on the inside trying to see what he can do here to see if he can get that pass that he needs. Oh, my, oh, my. Great driving here from these drivers, and all of the patience and all of the kind of calm, steady racing that we saw in that open, I feel like has kind of just been taken out the window here as these drivers are just pushing these race cars here tonight. I love to see it. I really do. It's great to see all this action here unfolding. Daniel Mosteller, Aaron Smith, meanwhile, duking it out for that first place spot. Didn't take long before we seen this 70 machine get his way back up here, contending for that first place spot. But Daniel Mosteller, he's got a line here that seems to be working quite well for him, as we're going to ride on board here with Jaden Hopp in the 81 machine. Hopp here in a very good spot as well, I feel. Kind of trailing along here on the side of Thomas Sewell. Trying to stay on the rear of that 87 of Daniel Mosteller. And Jaden Hopp now falling behind that number 87 machine. It looks like maybe even giving him a little bit of bump draft there. Just a little bit there for a second. I don't think it was enough to even really be considered drafting, but look at this line of drivers working their way into turn one. We're about, oh man, are they going to take it 3 wide for first place on lap 14? I love it. Oh, yes, they are. Going into turn 3. Nearly 3 wide between Daniel Mosteller, Jaden Hopp, and Aaron Smith. All battling for the lead. This is... Sorry, folks, I got myself sidetracked there. Daniel Mosteller, Jaden Hopp, both duking it out here side by side. Well, a little bit. Jaden Hopp starting to take that low line that we seen Aaron Smith trying. Oh, man, oh, gosh. These guys are going to be swapping back and forth all the way until the very bitter end. Man, and look at these drivers falling back here. A little bit of side-by-side action here towards the mid-pack between Nicholas Lavelle and James Miller. As Jaden Hopp now going to take the lead here on lap 17 of 60. Crossing the line, it's going to be lap 18. And what an incredible start to this All-Star race. This is not stopped here for this lead. And it looks like now Sean Williams, he is, oh man, if they continue the way that they're going, we're going to see Sean Williams up here as well battling for this lead spot. And frankly, it looks like this whole field is starting to stack back up here. Tony Hilbrands, meanwhile, not sure what happened there for that number 92 machine, but falling back quite significantly here. As the rest of the field, again, starting to get themselves stacked back up here. The battle for the lead is going to be changing here right before our very eyes as we're grouped back up here as if we were back on lap 1. 3-wide battle, well, almost 3-wide battle there between Daniel Mosteller, Aaron Smith, who's now retaken the lead down on the inside, coming out of turn 4, going to be on the door here with Mosteller. Mosteller able to get that speed out of the 87 machine. Oh, man, meanwhile, look at this. That was almost 4 wide there. Looking at Cody Welch, Nicholas Lavelle, Jaden Hopp, all 3 wide here as we come out of turn 4. I want to, oh man, I want to ride on board here with, let's ride on board with Cody Welch. And let's take a moment, let's listen in to the 85 machine and just appreciate what's going down on track here at Iowa Speedway. fantastic driving from Cody Welch here. And truly amazing battles that we have happening still up front. Aaron Smith trying to do all that he can to get this. Oh, man. We were getting a little bit loose and banging back here. Howie Briss gets sent spinning out sideways from James Miller in that 09 machine. As the contact happens, the caution flag flies. And it'll be the very first caution of the race here tonight. Again, caution laps do not count. So lap 25 is where we will come back to the green flag as we get ourselves ready for our instant replay here to see exactly what unfolded here for this incident. I'm kind of curious to see. Oh, yeah, it looks like both of them. A little bit unsteady there. James Miller getting into the rear end of Jaden Hopp there, and that, Howie Briss. That ultimately going to bring the 97 all the way to the tail end of the field, and sitting in 10th place here as well. So, what an unfortunate way to bring out the first caution here of the night. And here we're going to see the drivers all come down into the pits for the very first time. And probably the only time here for this race. So here we get a look from above from the Team Goon Squad blimp that arrived here at Iowa Speedway yesterday afternoon for today's race. So Aaron Smith here back out onto the track. Daniel Mosteller, Sean Williams, all going to be our top three here. And now that everyone is going to be on a fresh set of tires and a full tank of gas, I would have to assume, this restart could get ugly. Now, anything could possibly happen here, but I don't know, folks. This could be quite interesting, to say the least. As we've seen Aaron Smith, Daniel Mosteller, both duking it out, swapping positions back and forth here for the entirety of this race here so far. The last 25 laps, it has been Aaron Smith and Daniel Mosteller just battling back and forth. Jaden Hopp even coming into the mix and putting a little pressure there as well. Now, we started to see the driver, all of our field start to get stacked back up there right before that caution came out. And before that, you saw a little bit of separation, not too much, but eventually the rest of the field was able to catch back up to the leaders and were able to get this kind of really solid pack racing for the lead. I mean, it all just seemed like it was for the lead. Every single driver here was all there. They were all competing for that lead spot. And I mean, it was right there in front of them. Every single one of these drivers had a chance and still has a chance to get themselves up here to the front. Now, once this 60 laps is up, that's where things kind of get a little interesting again, because, again, that caution flag is going to come out for the end of the stage. We're going to go into our 15-lap stage, which will see an invert of the field. Now, that's going to put a whole wrench in the gear for every single driver here, because it's only 15 laps. Now, that's a good amount of time to work with, but if you're someone like Aaron Smith, who's been leading this race, well, half leading this race with Daniel Mosteller, it would be crushing to have to work your way all the way from 10th place up here to first. Not impossible, but definitely challenging and not always a guarantee. As if you have any other driver up here, like Aaron Smith, who we just saw just get away from the field here as the green flag is flown. A little bit of contact there. No, we got Alex Anderson having a little bit of a moment there. The caution is going to come back out. I said it, folks. I had a feeling that something wasn't right. As we are going to go ahead and take a look at our next replay here and see what unfolded here for Alex Anderson. That's not exactly the view that I wanted. So we're going to back things up here just a little bit, kind of old school style here. So there, the 67 machine, the rear end starts to get away from him. Single car incident, spins himself into the grass on the front straightaway. And that is going to bring the 67 machine back to the tail end of the field. And ultimately, that's going to give us another chance to restart our field here. Bunch them all back up and get another opportunity to get things, well, get things exciting here again. I mean, this has been a phenomenal race thus far, and I can't imagine what some of these drivers are feeling right now. I mean, what's at stake right now? I mean, it's not, you know, it's not like the NASCAR All-Star race that they had, which I believe saw a prize pool of $1 million or something like that. I could be wrong. I'll be honest, I don't actually catch a whole lot of NASCAR myself, but I did hear that there was $1 million on the line here for that race. Now, compared to the $100 that we have here for the VRL Cup Series, that doesn't seem like a lot, but $100 is $100. Hey, you know, you can take your significant other out to dinner, you know, fill up the gas tank. That's a big one right now. There's all kinds of things you could do with that. So I think a lot of these drivers here are definitely excited to be here, and I think that a lot of just having this kind of action for any race is always just fun. So really great to see this field just sticking with it and trying to make the best of it, even as we're seeing a little bit of beating and banging start to come out from this field here. So but as we are stacked up behind the pace car, the lights are still on, so I expect we're going to see another lap or two before we are back to green flag here. So we'll just have to wait and see here once the pace car comes across the checkered line and see if that's going to be the case here or not. And the lights indeed do go off, so this will be the last time around before we go back to green flag racing here at Iowa Speedway for the VRL Cup Series All-Star Race. Aaron Smith, Daniel Mosteller going to be in the top row with Jaden Hopp and Sean Williams in your second row. Cody Welch and Howie Briss rounding out your third row. James Miller, Tony Hillbrands, Nicholas Lavelle, and Alex Anderson rounding out the field here. All right, here we go. Pace car is about to drop down into pit road, and there it goes. And the green flag will fly here. Aaron Smith on the high line. Heading into turn one, Mosteller down on the inside. Doesn't quite have the jump that Aaron Smith just had. Aaron now going to try and get himself a nice comfortable gap that he has been trying to get since the start of this race here. And let's see if these drivers are going to be able to see themselves a few more green laps before the next caution comes out. Hopefully the next caution that we see is the stage caution here as we work our way now out of turn two and down the back straightaway. Sean Williams, Daniel Mosteller getting mighty close to one another there. Mosteller going down way low as Sean Williams sticking to that high line that we've seen Mosteller using earlier in this race here. A little bit of bumping and grinding happening just a little bit behind them. Jaden Hopp, as well as Daniel Mosteller, getting a little bit side by side. Cody Welch, Howie Briss. James Miller here right on the tail of Cody Welch here. That 09 machine all over the bumper of that 85. As we continue to look on here, this is getting pretty intense here between some of our drivers as these battles continue to heat up. Oh, Lavelle. A little bit of movement there out of that number 10 machine. Falls back into 8th place after that. Having to get that machine steadied back out. So here goes Sean Williams after we missed that up here in the booth. So Sean Williams taking the lead here in that number 89 machine. Aaron Smith, Jaden Hopp now going to be second and third place here. The 89 of Sean Williams going to have an opportunity to lead some laps here. And let's see exactly what Aaron Smith is going to have in store to respond to that. And see if possibly we're going to see some of that same... Oh, man, I think it's already going to start happening here right before our very eyes. Some of that intense battling that we had happen before the first caution came out, where the field all stacked back up to one another. And we were seeing basically one giant battle happening. As we're all of our drivers here still very close to one another, so I definitely think that it's going to happen here again before too long. And it's just a matter of when, frankly. So here we see Sean Williams, Aaron Smith both duking it out side by side, and Cody Welch working his way up here into third place, battling with Howie Briss. Man, oh man, I want to ride on board here for a moment with James Miller, that 09 machine, who we have just seen just moving through this field. A little bit of three-wide action and unfolding up here in front between Aaron Smith, Howie Briss, and Sean Williams, but that quickly dissipates now as James Miller side by side here with Sean Williams, trying to crack his way into the top three and then some. You see Cody Welch there, still right on the tail of James Miller. Sean Williams as well in the mix here as Aaron Smith, clean air in front of him. He's just got to get that gap that he is, well, we know that he can do it. We saw him do it in the open. So now it's just a matter, well, excuse me, Cody Welch, we know that can do it. It's a matter of if Aaron Smith can do it, which right now it's looking like might be harder, might be easier said than done. Is what I'm trying to get at there. 22 laps left to go, though. It won't be too long before we see that caution flag fly for the end of our stage here. And it'll be a 15-lap duke out to the very end. Cody Welch here still almost side by side there with James Miller for a moment, falls back just a little bit. Now going to be side by side with Nicholas Lavelle. Single file up here for the top three, Lavelle and Welch. Both going to be door to door as Welch continues to fall down this field here. Not exactly certain what's going on here for that number 85 machine, but again, folks, you got to keep in mind, going into the second stage of tonight's race, there is going to be an invert of the field. So, if I'm understanding things correctly, if you're Aaron Smith right now, you might find yourself starting in 10th on the next restart. Or if you're Daniel Mosteller, you might find yourself starting in 1st on the next restart. So a little bit of mind games being played here, a little bit of trickery that might be at stake here. Well, not at stake, but at play. As, kind of seen some interesting shuffling happening amongst our drivers here that really, I don't know. It seems kind of fishy there, folks. We'll just have to wait and see because, oh no, the yellow flag is out here, and it's Sean Williams involved. We're going to have to take a look and see what unfolded here for that 89 machine. Oh, a little bit of tap from Tony Hillbrands. And to add insult to injury, Daniel Mosteller as well, not able to find a way around that incident. Unfortunately, finding himself into the side of that 89 machine here as well. So, unfortunately, that's going to bring out the caution here for the third time with 18 laps left to go for our All-Star race. Now, we are going to go ahead and we are going to take a quick commercial break up here in the booth and get ourselves sorted out as our drivers get themselves back behind the pace car and ready to go. And when we come back, we will have more coverage of the VRL 2022 Cup Series All-Star Race. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere, and we will have more coverage of iRacing right here on Team Goon Squad. Welcome back, folks. So James Miller, after the rest of the field decided to come down into the pits, James Miller here decided not to and is going to opt to lead the field here with 18 laps left to go and gonna be on just about 25 lap older tires than the rest of the field here. Now, that might not be enough of a difference to really matter, but 25 laps is pretty darn close. I'm not exactly certain what a full pit window would look like here at Iowa. I'm not sure, well, tire strategy wise at least, I'm not sure if it'd be closer to a 50-60 lap margin or if it'd be more than that or less. I would have to imagine more, being that this is just about a little over three-quarters of a mile in length. But either way, either how, with how things are going, it's going to be tough for James Miller, I think, to hold on to this lead here. I mean, even if he was on a fresh set of tires, I mean, we've just seen a lot of our field here just fighting tooth and nail for every single spot. So great to see the action here tonight. But we are about to see more as the pace car dives down into the pits. The green flag will fly, will cross the checkered line, and it's 17 laps left to go here at Iowa Speedway. James Miller, the 09 machine, leading our field here. Again, just about 25 lap older tires that this 09 machine is going to be working with here, so let's see exactly how this is going to work for him. Heading into turn 3. Taking a look back here towards our midfield, Nicholas Lavelle sitting in 4th place, putting a little bit of pressure on Howie Briss. Side by side here for these two drivers as they continue their way down the back straightaway. Alex Anderson just behind them. Not sure if there was a little bit of contact between Jaden Hopp and himself, but keeping it straight along down the track. Nonetheless, Cody Welch almost looked like he got into the bumper there of that 67 machine for just a moment. Luckily, nothing coming of it. Able to keep this race going in green with 15 laps left to go. Oh man, coming out of turn 4. James Miller starting to fall down the pack now as the rest of this field starts to catch up to that 09 machine and frankly start to show the difference in pace that 25 laps can make here on tires here at Iowa Speedway. Almost 3 wide action here down the front straightaway and across the checkered line heading into turn 1. As most of our drivers up here in the front, our top 3, are pretty well single file. It's back here towards the center of our field where things are really quite tense and quite interesting. With 12 laps left to go, Cody Welch right on the tail of the 09 of James Miller. Tony Hilbrand's down on the inside, down the back straightaway, heading into turn 3. Hilbrand's plenty of room down there. It's Cody Welch that's got a little bit of trouble though. James Miller, a little bit of contact between Welch and Miller. Miller almost colliding with Tony Hilbrand's. That was quite the save. As these drivers get stacked back up here towards the back of the field with 11 laps left to go. This is quite intense between these drivers. And unfortunately for them, they're only building themselves an even bigger gap between themselves and the front pack here. As between James Miller and Alex Anderson, there's just over a second and a half between these two drivers. Now, frankly, with 10 laps left to go, I don't think it's really going to matter too much. But that is, Aaron Smith gets a little bit of a tap there from Nicholas Lavelle, the number 10 machine. Oh no, are we going to see a caution? I don't think we are. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay. Wow. That is huge. Oh my gosh. We got to look at this replay real quick, folks. There's only 8 laps left. Look at this. Aaron Smith, a little bit of a tap there to the rear end of Nicholas Lavelle. That's going to send the front end of that 70 machine spinning down the grass on the front straightaway. And that's going to put Aaron Smith all the way at the tail end of the field here with only 7 laps left to go. But remember, folks, this isn't going to be the end of the world here for Aaron Smith, as 7 laps left to go before we see that invert happen to the field. So, whoo, man, oh man, this is going to be quite the interesting race here, folks. 7 laps left to go. It's Nicholas Lavelle leading the field at this moment. Howie Briss and Jaden Hopp sitting 2nd and 3rd. You can see Alex Anderson just trailing Jaden Hopp at this moment here. Taking a look back at this four-pack of cars here that we are still seeing battling. Looks like for 6th place right now that Daniel Mosteller is holding. James Miller, Tony Hilbrand's going to be side by side here. James Miller, a little bit of contact with the wall there as he comes out of turn 4. There we see Aaron Smith just behind him, starting to catch back up to this field. Alex Anderson making the pass around Jaden Hopp for that 3rd place spot here. 4 laps left to go before we see that caution fly here for the stage. And before we see who is going to end up where here for the invert. As we ride on board out the rear view camera of Nicholas Lavelle's 10 machine. Three laps left to go here for Nicholas, and hopefully he'll see himself come across that line once the caution comes out. Well, really, you can't even say that because it's just going to make things even more interesting because you don't know where you're going to end up once this checkered flag flies. So Nicholas Lavelle, he could be biting himself, he could be shooting himself in the foot here. The white flag flies. This is where things are going to get very interesting, folks. This is, man. I have no words. I have no words to describe what we're about to see other than just pure chaos. Nicholas Lavelle, Howie Briss coming out of turn 4. They're going to come across the checkered line. Lavelle in first, Howie Briss in second, Alex Anderson. Oh, man, oh, man. Hopefully he's got a fresh car sitting in the pits here as we get ourselves gridded up and ready for the start of our final 15 laps here for the All-Star race. And starting off at the very front of the field, Tony Hilbrand's in first place in the 92 machine. Daniel Mosteller, the 87, starting off in second. Cody Welch, the 85, in third. Jaden Hopp in fourth. Alex Anderson in fifth. Howie Briss in sixth. Nicholas Lavelle in seventh. Sean Williams in eighth. Aaron Smith in ninth. And James Miller in 10th. So, Tony Hilbrand's here, going to have an opportunity to possibly get himself a win here. With only 15 laps, it's not exactly out of the realm of possibilities, but it's also not out of the realm that another driver here is going to make something happen here. And frankly, Daniel Mosteller, Cody Welch, Aaron Smith even though he's starting at the tail end of the field here, any one of these drivers could pull it off here, and these 15 laps are going to be just truly exciting. As we come down the back straight here, once we come out of turn 4, the pace car will dive down into the pits and we will go back to green flag racing here at Iowa Speedway. Again, for the 2022 VRL Cup Series All-Star Race. Cody Welch right on the bumper of Tony Hilbrand's here. The green flag will fly, and we are racing here once again. Tony Hilbrand's Daniel Mosteller going to be side by side here heading into turn 1. Cody Welch trying to stay down on the inside line, heading out of turn 2. We already got a car going sideways and into other cars. It's Nicholas Lavelle, James Miller, Aaron Smith, and Sean Williams, all being collected into that incident here. Let's take a look at the instant replay and see what just unfolded. Man, oh man, it looks like Aaron Smith might have possibly made a little bit of contact there with Nicholas Lavelle coming out of turn 2. No, there actually was no contact there. So there was no contact there. Lavelle getting a little bit unstable, trying to correct it. Unfortunately, collects into the 70 of Aaron Smith. And man, that is going to put all 4 of those drivers down here towards the tail end of the field, and it looks like they're all coming down into the pits now as we speak here as well. And there you see Sean Williams, that front right, just absolutely crippled here today. But Tony Hilbrand's, Daniel Mosteller, Cody Welch, all 3 of these drivers here looking pretty solid at this point in time. And now that few drivers are down in the pits getting those repairs banged out, it's really tough to say whether or not those 4 drivers are going to be in contention here by the end, by the time things are said and done here. Only 13 laps left to go. I can't imagine that they're going to be sitting very well here. As Nicholas Lavelle has made his way out of the pits, James Miller as well, Aaron Smith now doing the same. Sean Williams, that 89 machine, still sitting in the pits, getting that repair done to that 89 car. There you see the tire removed from the right side of that 89 machine, and looking to get another one fixed on there before we go back to green here, hopefully. All right, so that was interesting. We just seen a little bit of a shuffle happen here. Cody Welch moving up into the front row here alongside Tony Hilbrands, and that's going to put Daniel Mosteller and Jaden Hopp side by side. Alex Anderson, Howie Briss in the next row, Aaron Smith, James Miller in the next row, and Nicholas Lavelle by himself at the tail end in 9th place. So the lights are off on the pace car as we come down the back straight, heading into turn 3. Let's see how this is all going to end here, folks. I'm excited. I hope you all watching are excited to see how this is going to end, because, frankly, this has been up and down, and there's been no way to tell who is going to end up where. As the green flag flies here once again, Cody Welch has the opportunity to lead here with 10 laps left to go. Let's see if he's able to keep that lead here and take it home for the win here. As we are already wrecking out of turn 2, Tony Hilbrands, Jaden Hopp, both collecting into the sides of one another, it seems like, bringing out the second caution here of our second stage. Yeah, there you see it. Tony Hilbrands just gets into the side of Jaden Hopp there, coming out of turn 2, and that's going to bring out the caution here. And wow, oh man, what a tough way to bring out the caution too. I mean, that is just So unfortunate to see. But that's going to stack our field back up here for probably the final time. So Cody Welch, Daniel Mosteller, Alex Anderson, all going to be in the top 3 here. And now Tony Hillbrand's Aaron Smith down in the pits. Tony Hillbrand's working his way out and back out onto track here as well. Folks, this is tough for these drivers. I mean, this is just tough. To have these restarts coming out like this, I mean, in these final few laps, definitely tough. But Cody Welch definitely seems like he knows what he's doing and has got it figured out as far as what he needs to do to keep himself up here in the lead and come across that line as the winner for the All-Star race here tonight. All right, as we get our field stacked up behind the pace car, I believe this is probably the second to last time we see the pace car around with us here. And hopefully the last time we see the caution flag fly here at Iowa Speedway. As we've seen some very impressive action, very intense action throughout the night. But now at this point, I can only imagine how the drivers are feeling, and tensions have got to be high. Tensions have definitely, it's got to be nerve-wracking being in this situation with only 12 laps left to go once we cross the checkered line. As the lights are off on the pace car, this will be the last time before we see the pace car drop down into the pits. And the green flag will fly once again here at Iowa Speedway. And there we go. Pace car is in. The green flag is out. 12 laps left to go here at Iowa Speedway. Let's see what these drivers have got in store here. Howie Briss in 4th place right now, sitting side by side with Alex Anderson. A little bit of a wall scrape there coming out of turn 2. Heading into turn 3, you can see James Miller trying to push that 09 machine as much as he can here. Crossing the line, it's 12 laps left to go. Oh, a little bit of a tap there from the wall from Alex Anderson. Nicholas Lavelle, Aaron Smith, all going to be stacking up here. Almost three wide here. James Miller cannot seem to get away from that wall here once again, coming out of turn 4. A little bit of scrape there from that 09 machine. Cody Welch trying to do all that he can here, sticking with that lead. Daniel Mosteller getting a little bit of pressure here and a little bit of a line down into turn 4. Still trailing behind that 85. It's 10 laps left to go here. Looking at Tony Hilbrand's down on the inside of Aaron Smith right now, charging his way up to Nicholas Lavelle. You can see just how loose some of these cars really are here. Taking a look kind of towards our midfield right now. Thomas Sewell saying Cody Welch looking pretty nice right now, and I got to agree with that. Consistency is going to be key here to come across that checkered line with the win. James Miller, that 09 machine, really fighting that car. Let's ride on board here for just a moment here with James Miller just to get an idea of what's going on the inside of that 09 car. You can see him just fighting that wheel, tossing it left and right, trying to keep this car straight. And doing a phenomenal job nonetheless. 6 laps left to go. This is where it all comes down to, folks. Cody Welch still holding on to that lead. Daniel Mosteller trying to do all that he can here to close that gap that is formed between these two drivers. 5 laps left to go. Most of our field single file here as we work our way down the back straight heading into turn 3. You can start to see Howie Briss starting to close in on the 87 of Daniel Mosteller. Alex Anderson doing the same here with James Miller in that 09 machine. Four laps left to go. Cody Welch holding on to this lead and doing so quite impressively, might I add. And is Cody going to be the one to take home the entire prize money for the races here today? That would just be poetic, to say the least. Cody Welch doing a phenomenal job here thus far. 3 laps left to go. It's going to be 2 as we cross the line here. Oh, James, keep it together there, buddy. The 09 machine getting awfully loose. Again, we've been seeing James fighting that 09 car lap after lap. Nicholas Lavelle also getting a little bit heated here. The white flag is out. This is the last time around Iowa Speedway. And the last time around that Cody Welch will have to do before he takes home $120 in total in prize money tonight here for the race as he comes out of turn 4. wiggling his way across the checkered line. That is going to bring home the win here for Cody Welch, excuse me. Daniel Mosteller in second, and Howie Briss taking home third. So a very impressive win here for Cody Welch. As we get ourselves our results here. So again, Cody Welch taking home first, Daniel Mosteller in second, Howie Briss in third, James Miller in fourth, Alex Anderson in fifth, Nicholas Lavelle in sixth, Aaron Smith in seventh, Jaden Hopp in eighth, Tony Hillbrands in ninth, and Sean Williams going to be taking home 10th place here as Cody Welch burns it down on the track, and we get ourselves ready for our post-race interviews. And starting off first for our post-race interviews, we're going to go back to how we normally do things. We're going to start off with Howie Briss in that number 97 machine here tonight. Howie, sir, do you have a read?
Yeah, gotcha.
Howie, what an incredible run here tonight. It was some very, very fast-paced, very intense action that we saw here throughout the entire race here tonight, whether it was the Open or whether it was the All-Star race. A lot of great action here tonight. Only 10 drivers that we had for this All-Star race, so very interesting dynamic that we had here with kind of a smaller field, but I think that it allowed for some great kind of side-by-side action, all the way through. But Howie, we've seen that 97 machine really fight its way all the way up here to that third place spot. Kind of walk me through your night here and what led you to taking home third place tonight.
Well, first off, this is the best car that I've had in a while, since probably Atlanta when I won, but it was loose on the beginning of the run because of the cold tires and everything, but then once you got into the long run, once you got heat into the tires, the car really started to handle, and that's where I realized, all right, it's go time, because Iowa is one of my favorite tracks, and I just like to get up on the wall in turns 3 and 4 and just kind of rip it a bit. So that came into play, but I know in the first segment we were close, and then the feature, I gave it everything. I gave it everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that those final 15 laps, that's kind of where things were. Even for myself up here in the booth, it was kind of a big question mark as far as how things were going to start and how things were going to end. So, finding yourself starting in 6th on that for the second stage, if you will, put yourself in a pretty good spot, I would say. And coming home with 3rd, that's got to feel pretty good. But the real question is, Howie, next week going into the Crown Jewel race. Now, I'm not exactly certain if you will be one of the drivers eligible for that, but let's just say that you were. And how are you feeling about that race?
I feel pretty confident right now because I want to do this for fun, and of course I kind of use this as a practice race for next week. So the setup feels great, track feels great. Hopefully it just transitions over to next week, and hopefully all the stars align and we can get a win.
Absolutely. Well, Howie, thank you for joining me here in the booth, and congratulations on taking home 3rd place tonight for the All-Star race. But before we let you go here, is there anyone at home, anyone watching the broadcast, or anyone in the pit crew that you want to shout out and thank before you head out?
Well, I know 2 people are watching guaranteed. Grandmother and Granddad upstairs, they're watching us. Grandmother was probably cheering her butt off. She was like, "Go, Howie, go, go, go!" And then Aunt Stephanie, I know she texted me during the middle of the race, and I told her it's not over yet, so we tried. Joe Thomas as well. He's been taking me to a lot of races this year, and looking forward to the rest of the summer. Tony Hillbrands, especially for putting up the All-Star race and the league and everything. You for broadcasting. Mom, Dad, I think. Did I miss anybody? I don't know, but hopefully that's it.
All right. Well, Howie, thank you for coming up here and chatting with me in the booth, and congratulations on taking home 3rd tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right, folks, that is Howie Briss, the 97, taking home 3rd place tonight in the 97 machine. Up next is going to be Daniel Mosteller, the 87, taking home second place here tonight. Dan, sir, do you have a read?
Yes, sir, I do.
Daniel, what a phenomenal race here tonight. I mean, Dan, first of all, you and Aaron Smith in that first stage were just swapping back and forth. It just seemed like lap after lap after lap. What did you have in that 87 machine that you think that Aaron Smith didn't?
It was probably the top line. The top line was super powerful. There were a few people in the race, and including Aaron, that I got freight trained. So I knew ripping the top wouldn't be good for your tires, but would be good for holding on to track position. And yeah, we went at it for I think about 20 laps before the first yellow. The second stint, I wanted to see how I could save my tires, and I dropped back actually all the way to last place at one point. Just trying to see, you know, what I need to do for the final 15 lap dash. And thankfully the invert, I got a good invert and avoided the chaos and just a little short there to Cody. He had some good pace. I was trying different lines, really none of it could work. He did a hell of a job, and he absolutely deserved that win.
Yeah, it was a great run there for Cody Welch, and really for yourself as well, Dan. You had, between yourself, Cody Welch, and Aaron Smith, it was a toss-up between you three. I mean, you guys were all pushing each other lap after lap, and every time there was a caution, I mean, it was just a little bit of uncertainty for myself. But Dan, congratulations on taking home second place tonight. I mean, I know it was a very hard-fought battle, but definitely a well-earned second place here tonight. As I mean, it was a tough race through and through. You said it yourself. But Daniel, I want to give you this time to give your shout-outs. Thank anyone watching the broadcast, anyone in the pit crew or at home that you would like to shout out and thank for your win here, or for your podium here tonight.
I want to thank everybody that's watching down back at home. Hope we put on a show. That first run was an absolute blast. Want to thank the pit crew for fixing up the car after I got into Sean Williams in an accident. And once again, want to give a good old congrats to Cody.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me here in the booth, Dan, and I look forward to seeing you next week at the Crown Jewel Race.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks, Daniel Mosteller out of the booth, taking home second place here tonight. Last and certainly not least, Cody Welch, our race winner. Cody, sir, it's like deja vu. Welcome back to the booth, sir. You are, well, let's just say you are on fire here tonight.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this track. It just suits my style.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to put it, Cody. You definitely looked quite comfortable here at Iowa. And I gotta say, I mean, that invert for the final 15 laps definitely seemed like it helped play in your favor a little bit to be able to push yourself up here into that first place spot. But Cody, I mean, coming away with the win for the Open and coming here into the All-Star race and winning that as well, you're $120 richer. How are you feeling right now, man?
Oh, I definitely feel good about that, for sure. You know, and it feels even better being able to come in to this league and race with all these guys and be competitive and actually beat them. Everyone in this league is really, really talented, and just to be able to run with them, every week in the top 5, the top 10, is awesome for me. But to come here and win one, especially the All-Star race where we were racing for a little bit of cash, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always just a little bit more fun, when you have something like that at stake. But Cody, it was phenomenal watching that 85 machine, both again in the Open and in the All-Star race here tonight. You were looking incredible out there tonight. So one final question I have for you, though, heading into the Crown Jewel race next week, how are you feeling about that, and do you think you'll find yourself with some similar success in that race?
Yeah, I hope so. I think that race might be it'll be a little less hectic. People won't be, driving their hearts out lap after lap, because it's going to be a longer race. Go back to the regular format. So it should be good, as long as I can keep myself out of trouble. Hopefully come home with another one.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been great to see the success of the 85 machine here throughout the season, so hopefully we get to see that continue on going forward. But Cody, I'd like to give you this time to give your shout-outs. Thank anyone watching the broadcast, anyone in your pit crew or at home that has helped you succeed here in this season.
Yeah, thanks everyone watching the broadcast. Hopefully put on a good show for you tonight. I'd like to thank everyone in my corner who watches every week. Support me, my girlfriend, my family, and my friends. I appreciate it very much. And yeah, thanks to Tony and you, Mason, for putting on the broadcast. We appreciate it.
Absolutely, Cody. Thank you for joining me here in the booth, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Thanks, man.
Alrighty, folks, that is Cody Welch, the 85 machine, taking home the win here for the All-Star race. Back-to-back wins for the 85 machine, winning both the Open as well as the All-Star race itself. So, really great success here for Cody and that 85 machine, as that is going to conclude our coverage of the 2022 VRL Cup Series All-Star race here at Iowa Speedway. My name is Mason Heimbaugh with Team Goon Squad, bringing you the action here tonight. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. Catch all the action that we have here on Team Goon Squad several days a week. And thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next week for the Crown Jewel race. Same time, same place. Thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.